Alright. Good morning, folks. Phil Gallagher here of ThrabenU University. No death and taxes today. Instead, we're playing a bunch of 2019 cards. So, we are playing a Painter's Servant Veil of Summer Oko deck. So, normally with Painter's Servant, you're used to it just working with Grindstone, right? So you go and you use it to mill out your opponent. But if everything's already blue, then Veil of Summer gives all your stuff protection from everything. Well, more accurately, it gives hexproof from everything, and if your opponent has cast any sort of spell, you get to draw a card. So we're going really hard on the Painter's Servant theme here. We have 6 blast effects, which are a counterspell or vindicate for a permanent if you have Painter in play. And Veil of Summer, while normally just pretty good as a magic card, is insane if you have Painter to back it up. There's also side benefits of being able to pitch, say, a land with Force of Will if you have Painter's Servant in play. This is a donation deck list that was originally submitted a while back that I missed, and we're coming back to it now. The original version from November of last year only had 1 Oko, but Oko's really good. I don't know if you picked up on that by now. So I've added another basic forest to the deck, just going up to a 17th land, so I can play 2 more Okos in the main deck, and another one in the sideboard. The sideboard originally had a bunch of blue blasts and also some repeals, but I wasn't overly impressed with any of those, so I added in the Oko and the lightning bolts, and there was an Ancestral Vision main deck that I moved to the sideboard as well. With that being said, let's just kind of jump into it and see how this goes. There's the Legacy Showcase Challenge I can't play in, because even though I play a ton of leagues, I only have 20 of these points because you earn them 2 at a time. Womp womp. Yeah. Been a lot of talk on Twitter recently about general unhappiness with some of the current MTGO event entry structure. There's so many premier events, but it's so hard to earn points if you can't play in qualifiers. It's really a little bit disappointing. I hope we get a hot fix to that eventually. We have a double cantrip hand, so I think I'm okay with keeping this hand, even though it doesn't necessarily have our primary color. Is this just going to be Dredge, and so I need to Force of Will that? There's a Fiery Islet version of Dredge that uses that alongside Cephalid Coliseum. So I should probably stop that. Things are going to get weird if I don't draw a blue card for turn. So now I get the option to either preordain, where I'm incentivized to just look for a blue card, or go and play. So I can either Force of Will or I can preordain. I really need to hit my next land drop so I can play this sucker out and get my game plan rolling. But I don't know that I can actually afford to cast this preordain. I would rather stop something like a breakthrough or careful study. Or we can have to Force of Will another one of those. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have too many more enablers. Don't do it. Don't do it. Alright. Now we're in trouble. Because now my opponent can discard a card in their upkeep. No Dredger. Or are they waiting to do something a little bit more degenerate? Hardcast a Narcomoeba. 3? Flashback the Faithless Looting. Alright. That I can't stop. So it's going to be interesting to see how long they wait on this Neonate for. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. We might get value from their Cabal Therapy, though, so that's cool. Cabal Therapy, target me. How about no? That's not really what I'm looking for here. Really need a land. Technically, that fits my requirements. So now I have 2 Vindicates / 2 counterspells. But those aren't necessarily going to look great. It's called Painter's Servant HC Fox, and it's great. Dredge always really cannibalizes decks like this, though. So, like, in Game 1, when we're the fair-ish blue deck, we're probably not going to beat them. We have 4 Surgicals for the post-sideboard games, and the ability to flash them back with Dreadhorde Arcanist or Snapcaster Mage. So I think we're going to be okay in the long term, but I really don't expect to win this game. Drugsy, the deck list is on screen. If you click the Cardboard Live extension, it looks like a set of cards. By the way, I'm trying out some hotkeys for muting the mic for the first time. So if I start talking for a while, I'm not actually saying anything. Please poke me. All right. At this point, they know I don't have a counterspell. I'm going to go ahead and F6. Our out to win here is probably just finding our grindstone and milling our opponent out before they can kill us. And we're not going to have a lot of time, because this can be cast from the graveyard, presuming my opponent can get another zombie, which I know they can because they have Cabal Therapy in the graveyard. We can blast a Hogak and convert it into zombies, but then our opponent just recasts it. And we don't actually have the red mana to do that yet either. So problems on a lot of fronts. we probably need to draw Grindstone followed by land. I haven't mathed it out yet, but I think I can survive one attack. So, is there another Cabal Therapy in there? Yes. So my opponent gets another zombie. I'll take my 2 Pyroblasts, so I can't actually kill the Hogak. So my opponent is representing 14 damage next turn, plus 1 Icarid. So that's 17, which is the number that I am at. I get to block a zombie, so I am not dead on board as is, but I am real close. Alright, now I'm definitely not dead on board. But life is bad. 1 of Grindstone? Not 1 of Grindstone. So now I don't think I have outs. My opponent didn't cast the Hogak. Wait, hold up. My opponent didn't cast the Hogak? Am I missing something? The zombies are still black. Okay, never mind. I'm not nearly as dead as I thought I was going to be. Sorry, second Icarid. I didn't see that before. But since my opponent didn't cast the Hogak, I think I'm okay. Oh, is there... So if my opponent casts the Hogak this turn, I get a card with Veil of Summer. Alright, so now Veil of Summer can give me a card. I think I will go ahead and take that here. On the off chance that I, like, draw a counterspell. Alright, I did not. Or a blast. Alright, 10 cards left in my opponent's library. Can we get them all with a Grindstone before we die? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, it's not like there's any totally degenerate and complaint-worthy 3-1 in the Legacy format that's blue and a Merfolk Rogue. I think we're just going to be facing down lethal on our next turn. Because my opponent flipped 3 more bridges. So that is just 8 zombies. Yikes. Yeah, so there's 16, 18, 19, 20 power on its own. I don't have enough mana to both Grindstone and activate it this turn. So I am just going to be dead. Yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Like, the power level of the last year or so has been such that it's not really even worth complaining about True Name anymore. What a strange life. Alright, so I definitely want my Surgicals, definitely want my Pyroclasm, can consider Sylvan Library to help dig for Surgicals. can consider Lightning Bolt to like destroy my own creatures or just like close out games via Arcanist. So Oko is probably slower than what I'm looking for this matchup. I really want to just invalidate what they're doing with like surgical and these. That's the real game plan. I'm going to be a little threat light if I junk all of these, but maybe that's okay. I would need 2 more cuts from here. I guess my blasts are only of medium power level against Dredge. They can be counterspells once Painter's Servant is active. Or maybe it's just Veil. So like Veil is good against just Cabal Therapy, basically. And that's fine and good, but I don't really want to draw too many of those in a game. Arcan, it's an Aurum list. It has the new Sorin, Chancellor of the Dross, the Black Chancellor. It's really pretty crazy. I'm not sure if the remaining Veils / some of these Pyroblasts are better than having like at least access to Oko. I think Oko's pretty hard to keep alive though. So we have our 1-of Grindstone here. No red mana. And like 1.5 pieces of interaction. I think I'm going to ship this one. This hand's better, but still a little bit questionable. I think I'm willing to keep this one, but just barely. So we Spell Pierce their first, like, Faithless Looting or Careful Study, and then I probably tap out for this, but maybe Painter. It really depends on what I draw. Absolutely not letting the LED through. My opponent may have another discard outlet. Shit. Well, this is beyond bad. Okay, it's just a Golgari Thug. That I am on board with. Ponder for Surgical is pretty strong here, but it's awkward if I miss. I think I'm going to take that line anyway. So I can't cast this Ponder this turn if I take it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the blind card. I didn't see the Evil Ox last game, right? And they only had 10 cards left in their library, so I'm not sure if they're playing it. I am in such a world of hurt if my opponent doesn't, like, brick off this Golgari Thug Dredge. Alright, that's fantastic for me. Gotten a little bit lucky here. They can still discard a Faithless Looting and ruin my life. They did not. They have a Troll in the graveyard now. Alright, Brainstorm. Let's do it. No! Oh, no, no, no! Oh! Why? Alright, I cannot imagine us winning. I will just concede if my opponent has a decent dredge because we have 2 dead turns. Blast an Archamoeba. That's a little rough. I'm gonna hope not to do that. So there's 1 bridge in there right now. So my opponent does have the ability to sacrifice Narcomoeba to Cabal Therapy and produce the Hogak this turn. Bad news for Phil fans. This forest that I added to be more stable against Delver is not looking so hot. Alright, so we face down a Hogak. I guess if that's all that happens, this isn't the end of the world. What's Kiora's Dismissal? Return any number of target enchantments to their owner's hand. Is that really all that much better than just Chain of Vapor? I don't know about that one. So next turn we get to Vindicate a Hogak. But we should be real close to dead by then. If not actually dead. Kiora's Dismissal lets you bounce an enchantment. And you can just keep playing blue to do it more. So we're not actually dead next turn, right? So we block a zombie. There's 2 other zombies in play. We take 4. And then as of right now, my opponent actually can't bring back the Icarid. They don't have a black creature in their graveyard. So there is the slimmest of chances that we could actually do something this game. But every single one of my life points is incredibly precious right now. Yeah, so it targets things that are in play. That's correct. Actually, so I blast this Hogak, it gives them another zombie, and then I'm just going to be dead on the following turn, and I'm not in grindstone range, so I am just going to concede here. That was a beating. But so it goes. Like we're the fair blue deck. We're not really expecting to beat Dredge. We did kind of have two clunkers of hands and didn't really like get off the ground particularly well. But I expect to do a little bit better than that on average in this league. No opponent? No opponent. Legacy's pretty fun right now. I enjoy the shift towards combo and away from just playing against Oko every round. I think Red Prison is really good again. Played a league to a 4-1 finish last night, only losing to Ozymandias, who is a very, very powerful wizard. Maybe we'll look at that list in between rounds. Alright, we have won the die roll. We are on the play, no lands. This one I keep. I need this to fetch green, so we're not fetching all basics this game, so I'm going to throw back my mountain. I already have a curve, but Arcanist and another Ponder is actually pretty good. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take that. And we'll leave the Arcanist on top. And we'll treat the Painter's Servant as more of a mid-game card. Like, the earliest we'll play that now is turn 4. Alright, is this a fair or an unfair preordain? If it's a fair preordain, boy, we're really well set up. If it's an unfair preordain, less so. I think I'm going to take this opportunity to fetch away the Oko in hopes of drawing a counterspell. I don't know that I want the second. The preordain's a little ambiguous, but I think I want to hedge towards not drawing that Oko. Fine and Andy, that league was so much fun. Every time that I've played Applejacks, I've had an absolute blast. And I actually do, like, way better with that deck than you'd think. The deck's not super consistent, so, like, don't go farming. Okay, our opponent was playing a fair deck. I still love our hand anyway in that case. So the Titania didn't do much that league. But in other leagues, that card has been absolutely insane for me. Alright, do I just slam Oko onto the naked board here, or do I just play Painter Servant and hold up a blast? That's actually a really close decision. The Oko gains value over time. And like Oko into Painter Servant destroy something is very strong. So if my opponent plays something like a Force of Will, if I play Painter Servant this turn, I can actually just Pyroblast that. Whereas if I play Oko, it's just like the Force of Will bait. So I think I'm going to lean towards playing Painter this turn. Here's the long pause. Our opponent thinks about what permanents and spells they really want to resolve. Alright, so we'll obviously name blue and pass the turn. No, I think the two lines are very, very similar. Now we can just play patiently and wait until we have the fourth land for Oko and resolve Oko with Pyroblast. Got him. Let's see if they can fight over it. If they do, then we just resolve an Oko on an empty board. Yeah, totally fine with this situation as is. Oh man, do you have Spell Pierce too? No Spell Pierce. So Oko could just be getting a 2-for-1 here via Force of Will. Or it resolves and does Oko things, and we just probably win the game. So it looks like either way our sequence wasn't really going to work out in our favor. All right. Sure. I basically had no opportunity to play around that this game, since I had to get green for Scalding Turn. We do have 3 basics in our deck, though, so if I start drawing fetch lands, we're okay. Yeah, there we go. So essentially, I'm going to be looking for fetch lands. Yeah, that's fine. That's not worth a Force of Will. That is also not worth the Force of Will. Although it's pretty good here, because this can mean that my opponent can play double off color cards off of islands. That's no good. That's fine. Oh yeah, oh boy, like opponent is not going to resolve spells this game. Like we get to fight very well. So that's a great draw. Super happy with that. Taiga cast red. Yep. That's what we care about right now. Oh, as in to destroy the back to basics. All right, I take it back. Yeah, I should have considered keeping Taiga. All right. Yeah, that was a misplay. Is this worth a force? I don't really know that it is. Like, my opponent gets value, but I think I'm gonna let that one go. Just like use our life total as a resource here. If their last two cards are force and blue card, they can have it. No, I am not giving them the opportunity to hardcast a counterspell or a force of negation. Absolutely not. Nice force of will you have there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Oh, sorry. I could just make a 3/3 here. Just, like, ignore my grindstone as a win condition. I'm just planning to kill my opponent via Oko. I don't really hate that. How many painters have I used? One? None? One. Nice. Now they're hellbent against Oko. Totally happy with that exchange. And that means that, like, my future painter or something like that is more likely to stick around and live. I think I'm fine with just letting the Oko take another hit, but since I have double Reb, it seems okay to just, like, use one here and keep my Oko's loyalty high. Nah. So let's not play this like we're in a hurry. Any turn that, like, Oko creates a food just, like, neutralizes the Snapcaster attack. Alright, and my opponent concedes there. Alright, so we want our fun grindy cards in. So I think that means this, 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 for sure. While normally, like, I would bring Pithing Needle in against an Oko deck to name Oko, like, this is really only going to name, like, maybe a Jace or a Teferi or something like that instead. So I don't know that that's where we're going to want to be. I can also consider Carpet of Flowers. So I probably don't want my Days. And, like, I already have just, like, so many 1-mana counterspells versus this deck that I can also probably consider just, like, not playing my Force of Wills. And just, like, not taking the 2-for-1 to myself. My Force of Wills are pretty strong when backed with all of this other stuff. But I do want to have a certain critical density of gas. Otherwise, my Lightning Bolt is medium. My Spell Pierce is medium. Arkin brings up a good point that I could just cut the Painter's Servant package. Because the blasts are still just beating pretty much everything anyway. So, like, which is better, like, Painter and Grindstones or Force of Wills? I think I'm going to keep it like this, but I think it's pretty close. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Keep. So as far as blue stuff my opponent can play next turn, I'm not really expecting counterbalance or anything like that. So I don't think I need to hold these up. I think it's just fine to ponder off a Volk. Do I want 2 of these lands? I think the answer is no. I'd be willing to take 1 land to just like get more basics, but I don't think I want 2 lands. Yeah, a basic land. Actually pretty happy to see that. So now I have access to basic island, basic mountain, and if I draw a Missy at any point, that can give me my basic forest. All right. So which card is more important, Sylvan Library or Arcanist? Because that's the thing that I will just protect next turn via Pyroblast. Probably. The other thing I could do is just like pass the turn and just like wait to play either of these until I can have a blast up. Which is what I'm going to do. Yeah, sure. So in case we lose the fight, we're going to start with this one. Resolving the library as the game goes long is very good. I also want to play in the way that minimizes the impact of back to basics. So my opponent's somewhat unlikely to have Swords to Plowshares, because if they had Swords to Plowshares, they would have just let the Arcanist resolve. So that's important information for me to keep in mind. Sure looks like Cube. Look at all these sweet cards that I have. None of them even match. Alright, so presumably that's what my opponent found off of the Ponder. So this is their turn 4. Oh, maybe they have a line drop. So this second Ponder is probably going to have to look for a land now. They could have had that in hand already. Now do I want to Lightning Bolt this Ice Fang Coatl. I might, since like my life total is a resource, but I won't do it until their end step. Like, I want to be able to, like, blast an Oko and then blast a counterspell on my blast. Yeah, Mentor's fine. Lightning Bolt, so good. Ooh, an opponent didn't even get a token out of it. Well, the forces may or may not even be in the deck at this point. That's something else to consider. Heh, 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 heh. Oh, geez, this is good. So I think I'm going to put back the Spell Pierce, pay 4 life to keep this. Let's go ahead and play a Vision. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the board, because I'll still have a Blast plus Veil of Summer to fight on their turn if they play something important. And now I'm starting to care about my life total a little bit. Six mana Chandra in this deck. I could be on board with that. I'm somewhat tempted to just like fire off this Brainstorm to just get a little bit deeper and make my Sylvan Library better for turn. Deal. Everything's blue. We have 2 pieces of interaction and 3 cards on the way. The Spell Pierce is medium right now. Did I just open up my library to Reb? Is that what happened? It doesn't feel like that's what happened. So I'm definitely putting back this Volk. The Scalding Tarn is harder, because I would like to be hitting land drops, and I can't double Veil of Summer right now. But I also don't know that I want to press my life total much further. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put back the second veil. And plan on potentially redrawing it depending on like what happens in the next turn cycle. Note, we're not attacking because I don't really want to get blown out by a mid-combat Ice Fang Coatl. So I could take the second Veil here, but I'd rather... So we're looking at Veil and land on top, and so I don't know that I want both of those. We can't get a basic with this. I think I'm going to get another green source that's also a blue source. Let's take a drop. Oh, I like that. So there's presumably going to be a big fight over this Ancestral Vision. Target me. So we're going to have Snapcaster Reb, followed by Spell Pierce, followed by Veil. Or somewhere thereabouts. You would like to destroy my Sylvan Library. You know, I think I just let that one go. I think the fight right here is over Ancestral. You would like to Pyroblast. So how does multiple Veil of Summers work? So if my opponent Veil of Summers, and then I Veil of Summer afterwards, would it still work out the way that I want? Yes, because both of our spells can't be countered. Yeah, but I didn't want to fight there. I'd like to Swords to Plowshares my Painter in response. So I'm still going to draw a card, I believe. And my spell still can't be countered. Yeah, this is still fine for me. Like, my opponent still has to fight over the Veil with their last card. Flusterstorm, okay. Are all of these targeting my Veil of Summer? Because if so, that's so good for me. Veil, 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 Veil. That seems like a misplay to me. Because now I can just Snapcaster Veil. After all of that is said and done. But just confirming these have no targets. Oh, sorry, it's not a misplay because I have 4 open mana. I understand now. The other thing I can do here is actually just Spell Pierce this, since my opponent has 1 mana open, and just save my Snapcaster for a Reb for an Oko. Which is what I'm going to do. Alright, that was a pretty abysmal set of cards, all in all. But that's okay. No, I do not regret not fighting over the library, because it means that we won the war over everything else. I'm just going to pass the turn here. I think using my Spell Pierce while it's still a usable card is pretty useful. So my opponent has 6 lands over there. So, like, I'm totally fine with sandbagging this Snapcaster and, like, saving it as an answer to an Oko or Jace. All that card filtering. Nice. Hey kids, you know how Dreadhorde Arcanist and Ancestral Vision works? Spoilers, it's the way I want it to. Mentor. Yeah, I can Snapcaster Lightning Bolt that. And if my opponent casts, like, any spell, I just do it in response. Or if they don't cast a spell, I get to attack with Arcanist and Lightning Bolt it. So, like, I 100% have this card answered. Apologies for the shuffle noises. I really like how we've played this one. Rough deck could win with luck. No playing skill you have. Sure. Sure. That's why I spent the last half an hour like going over all of my lines in detail. Salt indeed. We lost to Dredge, which like we're obviously not going to beat the vast majority of the time. We have not received any subs today yet, so we are 0 of 3 on the way there. All right, we are 1 of 3 to the way there. Fine and Andy, thank you very much for your sub. I really do appreciate it. I've gotten a lot of support for the stream recently. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this hand. We're probably playing against Infect, I think. And for gifting another sub as well. So thank you very much to Fine and Andy for that as well. 2 of 3 of the way there. Basic Swamps, enjoy your Thalia emote. Three of 3? Oh, gifting 2 tier 1 subs. Oh, so it got to Prophet M as well. Alright, so thank you very much. So Black Stompy stream confirmed happening. I will add it to the queue. Days is interesting. This is also interesting. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep both of these. The awkward thing is that if I Daze, I can't actually play my Arcanist. But I don't know that I'm going to play it anyway. Next turn. I think I'm okay with top. Like, the Daze can also just become Force of Will fodder. Yeah, your Brainstorm's fine. I mean, I don't think there's any need to knock my opponent's deck. I think my opponent was playing a fine deck. But like, I think they made some mistakes in that game. But they probably won't go back and think about that because they just blamed their win on me being a noob lucker, you know? This one, this is a debatable play, since my opponent does have an Infect creature in play. How much do I want to fight over this? I don't have removal spells currently. And if I fight over this, I could die on my opponent's turn. But if my opponent is fighting over this, I actually don't think that they have the kill. So if they had the kill, they'd just be like, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to try to kill you on my turn. So keeping that in mind, I think I'm inclined to go ahead and force pitching my Preordain. This Daze isn't doing anything right now, but it has the potential to do something on their turn. Like when they use mana to activate Inkmoth Nexus, I might actually be able to snipe something with this Daze. We'll see, though. That I don't like. Well, actually, that I don't mind too much. Because they're just going to, like, use that as a pump pre-combat. Yeah, that's fine. So now I can snipe something like an Invigorate that my opponent would play out. Don't love my position now that my opponent has played a second creature. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn the Glistener Elf into a regular dude. And if they spend resources on that over the next couple of turns, like just sending the Glistener Elf at the Oko while also activating the Nexus, again, that might mean that my Daze actually gets something. This is a distraction, not a win condition right now. We're looking to find a blast so that we can start blowing up an Inkmoth Nexus every turn. Alright, so opponent looks like they're going to outright ignore the... Oh, never mind. Oop. Is the opponent going to try to take out the Oko this turn? This is a really weird spot for them. I mean, it's equally weird for me. Because if they send at the Oko, they lose out on the Exalted trigger for Noble Hierarch. They can still Pendelhaven it. But they're not actually set up to kill the Oko at all. I kind of feel like my opponent's just supposed to ignore Oko and nug me for 3 Infect. So I could have 2 more Infect damage and be at 7. And then that just means I'm dead the following turn. From here, though, things get a little awkward. Because I can either play Painter and represent a blast, or play Painter and hold up my Veil. I mean, I just like their attack from the previous turn as well. I could just be dead now, right? Alright, so I've got some problems. Let's see if we can solve any of them. Really need removal spells. If I take the Brainstorm, I get 2 looks for one of 6 blasts or both. I think I have to keep both. And I can't shuffle away the Scalding Tarn because I'm going to need it to cast a blast. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we can probably put back... I don't think we're getting any value out of this Daze at this point. So we can put back... Well, actually... No, my opponent's Hellbound. I'm not getting value out of the Daze. Yeah. So we'll put back Daze, Painter, play this. Oh, fuck. That was a misclick. Oh, that was supposed to turn my food into an elk. Shit, 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 shit. Brilliant tactical planning ruined by me being an idiot. We're not necessarily out of this yet. No, taking up for food was very bad. It was very, very bad. Don't try to defend me. That was terrible. I mean, it should be irrecoverable. But it's only irrecoverable because, like, I clicked on the wrong thing there. Actually, Arkham might be right. So, like, I make the 3/3, it blocks the Infect one on the ground. But then I can only blast one Inkmoth and the other gets Pendelhaven, so I still lost. Alright, I was upset at myself, but it was just GG time anyway. Alright. Yeah, I didn't think that through before I got upset with myself, but yeah, we were done. Alright, so what's good? Lightning Bolt is great. Pyroclasm is like A+++++ quality card here. And then we have a pile of things that are fine that I can consider playing. So it really becomes a question of, like, how do I want to stack my deck here? I don't think the game goes long enough that I'm actually going to find my Grindstone to kill my opponent with that. So I think I'm going to cut that. Yeah, Pithing Needle is in this pile of things that I'm considering. So, like, these are the absolute slam dunks. I think my daze is not at its best here. If my opponent opens on a Noble Hierarch, it's probably dead for most of the game. And setting myself back a land drop is equally rough. I don't think I'm going to Carpet. I think I will Pithing Needle to answer all of the Inkmoth Nexuses. Oko's awkward. I will probably play either 2 or 3 of them. Let's say it's 2. And then I'd probably cut a cantrip. So this would let me bring in 4 cards. So the question is, like, do I want Grudge for Nexus? Do I want Vision for as the game goes long? No, I'm bringing in 2 Lightning Bolts and a Pyroclasm, and Snapcaster is great with those. So I absolutely will not cut Snapcaster. My opponent also doesn't have, like, that much counter magic. So I could see, like, dropping a Veil of Summer to just play one of my this is good as the game goes long cards. This hand is not innately exciting, but we have a lot of cantrips. And something that can invalidate a single infect creature. I think I'm going to keep both of these. But I think that's a very interesting preordain. Because you also could very easily just say, like, no, I'm going to bottom both of those and just try to work towards removal. Oh yeah, totally fine with that. I do nothing a lot. I made adjustments to this list, but the list itself is based on a deck list from November 2019. I adjusted the sideboard, changed the mana base a bit, and added more Okos. Those are my primary contributions here. So I think my opponent's most likely line just involves, like, playing a Blighted Agent. So I'm not going to take any actions here. Yeah, totally fine with you getting in there with an Inkmoth Nexus. And I'm just going to take this hit, and then I'll end of turn Brainstorm. I don't want to start the fight over their creature before they have the chance to, like, Invigorate or something like that. Oh, they can't even Invigorate. Well, let's change that to Force of Will, then. Ha! 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 Is Pithing Needle with Pyroblast and Veil of Summer backup good? Because it feels really good. Wow. So I have to shuffle away just one of these. Honestly, it's probably the Force of Will or the Spell Pierce. I think I'm gonna junk. It could be. It could just be the Ponder, actually. Azorius HS, thank you very much for following. I could see it being the Ponder. Yeah. We have so much counter magic to protect this. Oh my god, it just resolved. Inkmoth. Don't click on Blinkmoth and make a terrible misclick. Poor little blighted agent. And our stuff's just resolving. Boy, that feels nice. I almost don't care. Almost. Hey, should we turn our pithing needle into a food? The damage is done as far as those green lands go. Ooh, I think even though I can't, like, cast that this turn, so I think I'd take those anyway. It's super awkward if my opponent, like, has a third wasteland, but I think that's pretty unlikely. I could also see an argument for just making another food this turn, so that I have something harmless to swap with if my opponent actually plays out an infect creature. But I don't think I care if I give them a 3/3. Like, I just don't think that matters that much on this board. Like, given how quickly this thing will just spiral out of control, I think this is fine. Another daze. Okay. That's a nuisance, but it's fine. So I guess if I Oko -5, though, and take that, it's no good. So I guess we just turn it into an elk. Enjoy your elk, sir. I'm assuming that's a Sylvester. Sylvester with a different spelling. No, I don't think opponent is so dead. I think they're just regular dead. Like, there are outs. Like, say my opponent like plays a Corrosion Grip or something like that and turns like the Inkmoth Nexus back on. Like, there's a game to be had. Or like opponent could like become immense. Does become immense give trample? I think it does. Like they could become immense and like trample through and like bash my Oko for a crap ton. This is the good old invigorate berserk to kill Oko. I love it. So note that we got invigorate, berserk, and blighted agent out of that Oko. Daze me again, I dare you. Coward, why didn't you have the third daze to get me? Also, really can't overstate how good the next land is going to be. Oh, man. So I can attack and ponder looking for a removal spell. Or I could brainstorm first and then use a ponder to shuffle. I think I'm going to ponder off my Arcanist first. Lightning Bolt is great. Wow, these cards are so strong. So let's go top, top, top. No shuffle. I'll let my opponent go to blocks. Kind of want to know if they have an Invigorate. If they have the Invigorate, this is awkward for me. And maybe I shouldn't have let them go to blocks. Okay. It's irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant. It's 1 point of damage, but... Now we brainstorm basically solely to make my land drop. I think I'm going to put back Oh my god, this card has trample? Why does this card have trample? I think I'm gonna put back both of my Snapcasters with the intention of drawing one of them. I need the land, and I need to keep Veil of Summer active at pretty much all times, because the way I lose this game is by losing my Pithing Needle. Yeah, I think I don't even think I bolt Noble Hierarch. We just worry about infect creatures at this point. Do I have another cantrip in the yard that I want to cast? Yeah, I can Brainstorm here. What a set of cards. I'm just sad that I have to put some of them back. Let's just put some Snapcasters on top of the deck. We are quite safe. Oko? You fool. You have walked right into my Reb. Do I want the other Snapcaster? No, I don't think I do. Like, it's good and all, but I have my value engine. Let's just try to find some more, like, land or more removal spells. Bottom that. Yes, we'll keep this. It's not necessarily the land that I was looking for, but it seems fine. The ink cost over time is something they didn't consider, I see. Yeah, alright, you have a Noble Hierarch. Why did you play the Noble Hierarch prior to... Never mind. I guess you still have the other Noble Hierarch mana. I don't want to let you brainstorm, not really. Actually, this is a fine opportunity to cash in a Snapcaster Mage. Just, like, get another threat onto the board. It plays into my opponent having a daze, but I don't particularly care about that. Like, I don't even think I force a will that. I think I just go, okay, you can brainstorm. But, like, without having more lands, like, we shuffled away one of the Snapcasters just because of the bloat. So I'm totally fine with just getting the other one into play and shortening the clock. I guess playing the Snapcaster is bad if I want to Pyroclasm away both Noble Hierarchs, but I don't really think I'm at that point yet. I'm not going to think about this too much. I'm just going to put back 2 cantrips. It's technically better to put back the Pyroclasm on top of my library so that I can have double Force of Will, Reb, and Veil of Summer all available. Yeah, this is fine. Hexproof from blue and black. Alright, I care enough. The best Pyroclasm is the one that you never cast, right? Oh, I didn't really want to attack with the painter there, but I guess that's happening. So that puts my opponent to 3. They can chump block Snapcaster and stay alive as of right now. So let's just close the door on that. Okay. Yes. And you're dead to combat damage. Sorry, I keep trying to mute my coughing. Really want that lightning bolt, but I don't think that's meant to be. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I don't really care if I time out when I'm streaming. That's not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm not going to bluff counter magic during my opponent's turn. I don't know where the Oko buttons are. In case that isn't abundantly clear, I don't play with this card much. So that was supposed to be an attack. Yeah, I'm pretty safe here. We're going to win with just a couple of seconds on the clock left. Can't Veil of Summer, unfortunately. I am F6'd. Boo. Alright, so we effectively won that one. I'm fine with that. I don't care, I don't blame them. Like, we're effectively 2-1 right now, but I'm, like, talking through lines and streaming and whatnot and pausing to cough. Like, I have no qualms with losing that to time. Like, we very, very easily won that game, if I was giving it my full attention. So that okay, looks like we have a reasonable hand. I mean, Buck Nasty, think of it this way. If I wasn't streaming, was there literally any chance that my opponent won that game? No, absolutely not. So I won that one. Like, it's a little different if I time out when I'm, like, playing, like, by myself in my room or something like that, you know? Like, if I time out then on those sorts of situations, it's a little more tilting. But, like, what good does it do with getting mad about that, you know? That's interesting. I don't know if I'm supposed to counter that. It's, if I force a will, it's just a straight 2 for 2, so I can force and pitch Snapcaster Mage and probably be fine with that. But I could also just see letting that resolve. let's reset that upkeep stop. I'm gonna go ahead and end of turn brainstorm here. Honestly, I'm fine with all of this stuff. I'm just gonna redraw one of my lands. Yep. Yep. We're not going to play that this turn, though. I'll play that next turn when I can blast immediately. Seems like a really random fetch. So I left a land on top of my library. I think I'm fine with another land, honestly. Oh yeah, Arkin. I'm pretty sure my win percentage on stream or when I'm recording for YouTube is about 10% lower than what it is when I'm normally just playing by myself. Like 2 weeks ago on Reddit, people were like, "Oh wow, Phil's on a roll. He got 2 trophies." It's like, yeah, I played matches off stream. That's what happens. Yeah, sure, Noble Hierarch is fine. I might just bolt that Noble Hierarch to use my mana and put the bolt into the graveyard. Is our opponent just playing Infect again, though? We just want to hold the bolt, probably. We have yet another land on top of library. I do. Let's fetch. At what point do I just start going for their mana? I don't think yet. I also don't think I'm going to make a Painter attack here. So the always bolt the bird thing usually applies in the early turns, but I think the difference between 3 and 4 mana for my opponent is like basically none. So like how are we supposed to lose from this position? Like how many pieces going right does that involve for my opponent? It's got to be a lot. I think I'll reluctantly cast a spell on my opponent's turn so I don't have to like use my mana on my turn. Boom. Got him. It seems like it's Infect. But it's a real weird hand if it is Infect. I'm going to put back 2 Veils, but I'll probably just redraw them. Speaking of redrawing them. Yeah, I'll redraw that Veil. Alright, good luck, Arkin. Have fun. And I'll gladly just take one Infect here to pick the fight at the end of my turn. Oh, they're very dead. Jay Gatz, thank you for following. I hope you're enjoying this content. Vines of the Vastwood, huh? How would you feel if I countered that? We don't need either of those right now. Double my clock. Double my clock. So one thing I tell people a lot, and I'm actually giving a talk on integrity at my school on Monday, is that like a lot of your online behaviors don't actually gain you a lot, right? And they end up like making you lose out on something. So like if you just get mad about your losses, you're just gonna play worse, right? So why get mad about it? You know, why salt off in chat? It doesn't do you a lot of good. Do I want to be able to cast all 4 of my spells in my opponent's turn? Probably. After I answer this Inkmoth, I'll deal with their cards. Alright, so let me just reread this. So it won't cantrip here, but I can save my land. We're not in any hurry to do so. Like, we'll gladly take 1 infect damage and pick the fight at the end of turn. Not give them any chance to go and, like, muck with us via shenanigans. And if they start the fight, then I'll fight instead. So this is a fine opportunity to just lightning bolt it. And if they respond with another invigorate, then we just like flush that out of their hand, and then I can pyroblast it. So we'll probably sideboard about the same as we did last time. I think we did this. I think we boarded out Days, Oko, a Preordain, a Veil, I think is what we did last time around. And then when we were low on time, we just boarded all of the Okos back in. No, we boarded out a Grindstone last time. So what was my last card I played then? I might have boarded in one card for the mid game. Let's just play another Oko though. That card ended up being pretty darn good last match. Yeah. So the gist of the speech that I'm giving on Monday to the kids is that a lot of your behavior online actually ends up driving people away from the hobby you love. So if you're always like gatekeeping, using a whole bunch of slurs, leaving terrible comments on videos, like you're just driving away people from the thing that you love, and you're not actually winning by doing any of that. So similarly, I don't think there's much of a point in me using a whole bunch of mental energy getting super upset about like losing a game or timing out or something like that, right? Like I played great Magic. I'm happy with how I played. I would have won that if I wasn't on stream, like 100%. We'll keep this 6. We'll bottom one of the Okos. Since I'm removal light with this hand, I'm actually not gonna get rid of their Hierarch. I think we're just gonna play my Tarn and pass. All right. So now I know what I'm looking for with the Ponder. You just got here. I've been muting a whole bunch to cough. So I don't sound as bad, but I'm still coughing very frequently. These cards are fine. So I have Painter plus Blast next turn, and end of their turn Lightning Bolt. All right, I have to pick a fight here. It probably doesn't end well for me. But I just have to, otherwise I'm probably dead. All right. Do you have something else? Otherwise I'm taking 7 Infect. I'm going to take the higher upside play here instead of the safer play. The line that I just took is super dead to a Daze or Force. Well, not super dead, but in great danger. But it allows me to use my mana more efficiently and makes my follow-up plays better. You can make a real argument for just holding up both Bolt and Pyroblast that turn, though. I don't think I want to start attacking with this Painter Servant. I don't really want to have to use my Reb on a Berserk on my Painter Servant here. So I could pick this fight at Inkmoth now, but I'd rather pick it once it's animated, because I have a better chance of actually fighting back. I assume this is attacking me. Yes. So we'll start the fight with the lightning bolt. If our opponent responds with a pump spell, we just rev it. as in retarded, as in like using that as an insult. So now I can either rev the vines or I can rev the Nexus. I think it ends up being the same. Because a vines beats me either way. Yeah, so my opponent had too many layers of protection there for us. I think I like the way that we've sideboarded, so I'm just going to go ahead and submit as is. And nope, I don't want to keep this only mountain hand. This hand is much better. What I throw back is kind of interesting. I need both my lands. I feel like I kind of... I think I'm going to junk the Force of Will. I don't think I want to go down another card here when I'm on the play. The problem with just taking the 2, though... do I want any 2 of these? Don't think I want 2 of those. I'd rather find like a bolt or something. So the problem with just taking the 2 is that if I take the 2 there, I never have the opportunity to just like take another infect hit again. And I'm going to have to answer like everything from there on out. So I felt pretty safe in trying to pick the fight since my opponent had already expended some resources previously. It didn't work out for me. I don't regret my line. I also wouldn't fault you for taking excuse me, for taking that line though. Yeah, so if it was 8, I would be more inclined to like take that line, and I would have taken that line. But 9 is dicey, because then it's just like one Inkmoth Nexus that I can't answer like for 1 turn, and I'm dead. So part of me just wants to brainstorm, set up my turn, blast, and then play Oko. Yeah, Bear with 2 Guns. This is a fun pile of cards. I'm really enjoying this one. A Veil and a Painter. Those are good things. So this Oko I don't want. From there, it's a little trickier. I will probably redraw whatever. No, I won't redraw whatever I put back. I also don't really want to Pyroblast anymore, though, since I drew the Painter. So I think I'm just going to hide my Brainstorm on top of my library and let them ponder. And then I can make the decision about whether or not I actually want the Brainstorm or whether or not I want to fish for removal. I don't think I'm going to cast the Brainstorm in the next couple of turns, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just junk that here. I don't hate that. This Scalding turn will fetch Taiga to represent both Veil and Pyroblast. I think I want to fetch now. It resolves. Blue. Blue is what I'll name. And I think I'm going to pick this fight on my turn, even though my opponent has mana available. Well, Flusterstorm was not something I was thinking. I was thinking I could force a Spell Pierce or a Vines. That's slightly awkward. Now that everyone's playing Veil, I don't have Flusterstorm on my mind anymore as something I should be playing around. No, I think we're doing fine. Yeah, so like I'm aware that Flusterstorm is still decently played, but when it comes to counter wars now, I'm thinking more about Veil of Summer. It used to be like Flusterstorm is the trump card. Now Veil of Summer is the more common trump card. Like both still definitely see play. That Pithing Needle sure would be swell. Yeah, do you get 4 missteps in Vintage still? It's no, right? Isn't that restricted? I think that card's real good. Speaking of real good, this is a very nice way for us to gas back up. Opponent doesn't know it, but we are now shields down. Gonna pause here. All right, sure, but I'm shields down if I effectively want to win this game, right? So like pitching this here is it comes at a very high cost. Eh. GG's. We had a couple of potentially different like branching plays there that we could have taken. But say la vie. Opponent was able to win one too many counter wars that time around. Stealing Noble doesn't actually do a lot on that board because then they just attack with another Inkmoth Nexus instead of just attacking with one creature. So yes, that was something that was on my mind, but I don't know how far that actually gets us towards winning. So Big Diesel, the reason why I played that land is because it was my 5th mana, and the 5th mana lets me hardcast the Force of Will. And so I wasn't expecting to have to Veil of Summer to protect my Painter. So, like, if I didn't play the land, I could have forced, but like they beat the force anyway, so it's kind of moot. All right, we have a reasonable hand. Good luck, you two. I like these cards. Let's go top, 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 shuffle. No, pass the turn. We can tap out for Painter on turn 2 with Daze backup. The third one down was a land, so I don't want that. So let's fetch a red source here. Sorry. Pretty sure I want to do this on my turn. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot and I keep muting myself when I'm coughing. So if you see my mouth moving and like there's no sound, just like say something in chat and I'll get that fixed. So the reason why to do that on my turn is to play around with my opponent casting a High Tide in their upkeep, then having turn him out, getting to 6 mana, and being able to go off. So there's 2 time spirals gone already. That's actually pretty decent for me. My opponent has a lot of cards, though. I'm definitely at a disadvantage currently. Merchant Scroll searches for High Tide. Games are really fun. There's some great VODs from today. Or some great earlier matches, which will soon become VODs. That was a top for the record. Grindstone just kills, right? Grindstone just kills. Oh. Oh. That's just rude, really. I just wanted to have fun with my grindstone. Yeah, this deck is super fun. Note, opponents going off is super weird because I can get to, assuming that they end up time spiraling, I have a lot of cards that I can draw that are extremely powerful and will stop the combo. No, it wasn't an, thank you. It wasn't an Aurum deck. It was someone else. I think they go by the handle, JLM on Twitter. Or no, that's what their name is on there. Their actual name is, I think, Soviet something or other. I forget. Alright, you have high tide. You have a high tide. I attempt to cast Veil of Summer. It will get Force of Willed. Only they get to untap the lands. LOL! Well, this is pretty good. I think that's worth fighting over. He's tapped for 3 right now. Where do I put this stack? Where do I put this stack? Flusterstorm is just getting rougher and rougher, by the way. I think I want to do that this way. Whew! Whew! Beautiful, beautiful stack right there. I was just muted for all that. Anyway, I feel like if I let any of that resolve, I was in huge trouble. So like, don't let a Cunning Wish resolve. All right. Yeah, feels like we're pretty well set up to do things. We have a lot of hate. Eternal Magic BR, thank you very much for following. All right, I don't think I want that lightning bolt. Sorry, folks, I'm trying, but I'm obviously dying over here. I feel like we're pretty well set up, so we don't really need to sideboard that much. We probably will bring in the surgicals just because, like, maybe not all of them, but having the ability to pick out cards from their deck and then flash it back with this is pretty absurd. I don't think I like the Daze. I don't particularly like the Spell Pierce. Like, it can trade 1-for-1 with a spell early on, but late game or when they start going off, I don't think it's particularly good. I feel like I can probably drop an Oko. I don't know how many surgicals I want. We'll take out the non-matching one for sure. I could see Ancestral Vision or Sylvan Library also being very justifiable, just to filter draws further. Yeah, this deck's super neat. It's based on a list from November 2019. Yep, this seems fine. So we have 2 to 3 counter spells at the ready here. I would probably Reb a Predict if my opponent played one, so let's play Tarn and pass. Oh, and little thing that I didn't talk about last game, but that I was doing. You want to be fetching your things that are islands in case your opponent starts going off with High Tide. It gives you more mana to work with. So you probably won't see me fetch a Taiga this game. Since I have 2 Force of Wills, I feel safe tapping out for a Painter here. Is that worth 2 of my cards? No. It's close. But I think no. You get to have it. If I counter it, it probably means that they're just going to like draw an island or something like that. So it's super awkward which one of these lands I tap. Because I theoretically want to leave up the red. But if I draw a Veil of Summer, which would be very, 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 very good, I would want to have the green open. I just noticed my opponent's comment. Main deck Veil and Pyro. I did not sign up for this, Phil. I'm going to get a kill this game via Grindstone in all likelihood. I don't really want the Grindstone right now. But I'll be fine with redrawing it and playing it with 1 mana. I really just want land, and none of those are land. The Veil is stellar, but I think I have to shuffle and find land. Eh. I'm not really one to let Cunning Wish resolve. I still have 2 layers of protection up with double Force of Will. I think I let the High Tide go and try to counter the payoff spells. Please don't let that last card be Flusterstorm. Thanks, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Unless my opponent has land plus Time Spiral, I think I'm pretty safe to do this. And I just need something that is going to churn me towards the land that I need to win this game. Or Turnabout plus Time Spiral. Oh boy. I didn't. Alright, I have a Force of Will. My opponent has not cast a High Tide yet. So that's actually fine. If I can find a land, I can Oko that. Otherwise, I can just Rev it. Yeah, that can resolve. So this is Turnabout. Target me. You're gonna tap my lands. Okay, so I will just use my mana efficiently then. I will Red Elemental Blast. Destroy that. And then it's interesting as to whether or not I Brainstorm. If I Brainstorm, my opponent will just tap down my creatures. If I don't Brainstorm, they might just tap down my Tropical Island. So I think I just let it resolve there so that I can, like, have... maybe I just let them tap down my creatures and, like, don't destroy one of their lands this turn to have a better chance at making my land drop. This is an interesting spot. I'm gonna let it resolve. They can choose creatures or lands. All right. So we only have one piece of protection right now. But luckily, it looks like my opponent can't go off yet. Let's try to find land, as we've been trying to do for the past few turns. I mean, that's a land, so I'll take it. But it's not what I want. Let's be clear here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sure is a blue land. Three, six, seven, eight. Do I want to cast another spell or just discard? I kind of just want to discard, if I'm being honest. Not words that I say very often, but you know. I discarded the wrong card. I should have discarded something that Arcanist could have flashed back. Just small, tiny thing I should have been thinking about. Yay! A land! A land! So this targets me, so I can beat that with Veil of Summer. Are you actually trying to tap down my lands, though? Unsure. It kind of feels like they're just trying to tap down my lands. I'm going to force that primarily because I get more value out of my Arcanist if I get a card out of my hand. All right, the world is our oyster again. Don't really think I want the Oko. And I think I'll probably just end up redrawing that land. Yeah, but I don't want to tap that low for Oko. blast that? I don't think so. Maybe I should have, though. All right. What do you have for me now? So 13 times 3 is 39. And I can't win in my upkeep. Yep. All right. GG. I'm going to try to take 30 seconds and run to the restroom before the next game starts. Be right back. So that was a really interesting game, and there were arguments for playing out that game differently than I did. I'm going to keep this one even though I don't have my second land. Any land or any cantrip, I think, just turns this hand into something that is absolutely insane. Yeah, that's awkward. Yeah. I'm going to trade a card here, just so I don't have to discard to hand size in case something goes wrong. 3, 6, 7. Go ahead and pass the turn. We'll see if I get punished for not fetching. Actually, I really should probably just fetch. Because if my opponent casts something and then I fetch, they'll sack this in response, and it's all sorts of bad news for me. I sort of want to know how close my opponent is to going off. I want to know if it's safe-ish for me to tap out for an Arcanist. Yes, that's fine. Oh, God. How many High Tides are currently in the deck? 3 of them. There is 1 in the sideboard. So in the upkeep, I can go Veil of Summer. This is awkward. Okay. I think I'm going to be dead. So in the upkeep, I can Veil... Alright, I don't have clock to think about this, do I? I don't. I can't tap out for this. I will die. So if my opponent starts the fight with Hope of Girapur, I can respond with Reb and Veil in some order. Alright. So I respond with Veil there. My opponent will force or fluster. I will Reb in response. So what did they pitch to the force there? Merchant Scroll. All right, so Merchant Scroll and a force are gone. All right. Now the High Tide and the Turnabout are gone. So another High Tide was draw for turn. Alright. So now I have 6. I have no more actions for the rest of the turn. We'll see if our opponent can kill me. If their time spiral is average or better, they probably kill me. And then if they whiff, I don't think it's all that bad for them either. No, there's a Hope of Girapar trigger. I can't cast spells. Where's that little bugger? It got shuffled back in. But I can't actually cast any spells now. That's what started this whole fight. GG's. Didn't expect to lose this match. So we stumbled on land this game and really lost because of it. I still think the hand was a keep. I don't regret that at all. You know, it just kind of is what it is there. All right. So we really won one of those that I timed out with like the lethal attack on the stack and whatnot. So we really went 2-3 today. The deck felt fine. Many of our losses were just due to clunkiness, and I was frequently looking for more land. So it may be that 17 land is not enough for this deck, and I need a little bit more than that. So if I were going to try this again, I would probably like go down to like 3 main deck Veil of Summer and just like play an 18th land. I think that would be my starting point for adjusting the list. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the deck. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I hope you all enjoyed this as well. So that's going to be it for me today. Probably have to do some recording for Daily D&T either today or tomorrow. But I'll be back on Monday night. I have a couple of things queued up. I have a donation for Splinter Twin, a donation for like the Primeval Titan Loam lands deck, and then because of the subs today, we're going to do a stream with the Black Stompy deck list that I think it was Orem was playing as well. It might not have been Orem. It was someone of that ilk. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, please consider doing something to support my channel, whether that is a donation deck list, or just subscribing, or even just, you know, retweeting when I go live. I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to my friend Arkin now, who will be playing Legacy of Some Nature.